A very good morning to you. My name is David Batzofin. This is Off the Shelf, and I'm joined today by the inimitable Jenny Crwys-Williams, and we're going to be talking books. Jenny, good morning. Welcome to you.
Well, good morning, David. And I must say, it is one of the earliest Zoom meetings I've ever had. So you have no idea, but I've probably got my pajamas on underneath this top I'm wearing. And it's a beautiful day. It's not raining, and I'm thrilled to be working with you.
Thank you so very much. It's always nice to chat with you. Now, we're talking books. We're looking at your favorite books for 2025. I had asked you to put together some titles. I have no idea what they are. I'm hoping that somewhere in there is going to be sort of motor mechanics for beginners or something like that. Um, Motorcycle maintenance for dummies, something that you're reading that is just a tad left of center, perhaps.
Well, listen, I don't know. All I know is that my reading's slowed down because I'm reading more slowly now.
Okay.
I don't have a book show. So I'm not reading day, night in the loo,
Mm.
in the bath. I once dropped a book in the bath and then I was almost crying because I had to try and dry out the tear, and it was a hardback. And you can imagine the mess that it was in. And I had tissues, I had everything. So I don't have to do that, but sometimes I do for pleasure.
Right.
So my reading is more limited, but I do wonderful books for Investec.
Mm.
And so if you are an Investec client and you want to see some fantastic podcasts of books with authors, then that's the place to go to. So you just go online. So I've just chosen some of the books that have given me
That's
pleasure,
wonderful.
and there is one book that I would love to discuss with you.
Mm.
And I think one of the cats is sitting on it because I can't find it. So we'll do that. We'll do that later on. But I'm going to hold up the book so that
Yes,
people can
please.
see.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the first book, and
Oh,
and I
yes.
chose.
I've
You
interviewed
you
her and I've
also
read the
got
book.
it.
It's a great book. She's just got
Well,
a new one
it is
out.
just. Pardon?
She's got a new one that's just about to hit the shelves.
Oh, well, I didn't know that, but all
Yeah.
I know is that at the moment, everybody in Johannesburg and Pretoria and whatever is thinking it's the Western Cape. That's where we're going to.
Yeah.
You know, we've got this wonderful journey down and et cetera, et cetera. And I can't think of anything better than a guide to 34 of the Western Cape's most beautiful pools.
Mm.
And very few of these pools do you have to pay for. And the amount of research that has gone into it. I mean, just look at that picture. I
The
mean,
the
can you resist
photographs
that?
are you want to leap into the book, Jenny. You know, that's
Sorry,
what it you want to leap into the book. It's one of those that
totally.
you could just literally dive into it.
And I
I'm
don't
so
know if
glad.
this one, I mean, David, again,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope yeah, you
Now I
can
can
see
see.
that. And the
They are
cover itself tells you everything.
yeah. It's a great book and coming with holidays coming up in the not too distant future. This is forget the guidebooks and the walks and that. Grab yourself one of those and then go and try and find all 34 of those pools. I think I know of
What?
three of them.
Oh, do you? Well,
Yeah.
I must say it's not one of my highlights when I go down because I'm on wine farms and then I'm sipping wine and then I'm going to eat something wonderful because I mean I'm sorry about this, but the best restaurants, the most innovative restaurants are in the Western Cape,
Yep.
and they are mostly on wine farms,
True enough.
But it's but the girl who's done this book, and it's got a foreword by Justin Fox, is Sarai
Yeah.
Dowling. And I cannot tell you how much information you get on each title pool. And then you've got the photographs. And I would
Yeah.
actually just go straight to the photographs. But just to show you the kind of information you get.
Mm.
So if you've got bored teenagers or something, you could say, well, find me the baboons. And it'll be the
Yeah.
baboons from
Yeah.
that particular tidal pool, which I would
Yeah.
not make me happy at all.
No, I don't
Um,
mind the oyster catchers and the periwinkle
oh
shells, but
no, oh
baboons I'm a
no.
little cautious around.
I would be all if they smile at you and you can see those teeth,
Yeah.
you know they've won. There's you're going
Sorry,
to get
Jenny,
out of the way.
I can't help this. Smile at my baboon.
Oh, I've got one of those. I've got one of those, except I think it's better than yours.
Oh,
Wait a minute, everybody. It's just 2 arms away from me.
we,
Hang on.
this this has devolved from a book about tidal pools into whose baboon
Oh,
skull is better.
this is just wonderful.
Jenny. This is what happens, folks. This is the beauty of
There we
these sort
go.
of things, is they can just
I think you
disappear
put
off at
teeth
a
in yours
tangent.
because they don't come with teeth like that. So there's mine.
Oh, you've got a human one. This is
Of
baboon.
course.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
this is
oh, I see. You've
baboon.
just got a baboon. Oh no,
Yeah,
mine
this.
is human. Well,
Oh,
semi-human. It's
semi.
semi-human. But I mean, it's so lifelike. It's
It
not
was
real,
was that a
but
listener who peed you off?
but I mean, I think it's gorgeous. I love it.
Well, this is
Okay,
why
so
this
let's
was a birthday
anyway.
present to myself a couple of years ago.
Well, if nobody else will buy you something, you've got to buy it yourself. Anyway, I do think that if you
Tidal
go and
pools.
look
Yeah,
for a guide to tidal pools of the
yeah.
Western Cape, I think you're going to love it. And it is crammed full of information. And I think that she deserves brownie points. What is the book that she's got coming out?
Her and her partner or her husband are doing another book on tidal pools.
Oh,
I'm just waiting for my review copy to arrive.
oh, all right. Oh,
But
well,
there is and again, I should imagine that it's going to be as jam-packed as that particular one is.
well, I think it's a fabulous idea.
Yeah.
Then I want to go into, and this has just arrived for me,
Mm,
and I think I've just got to mention it. I have not, and normally when I look at a cookbook, I do cook from it first. And
right.
I mean, if I find it too difficult, etc., etc., then I leave it. But this one, the publishers have done such a good job of saying you have to feature this book, and it is just out. It is being launched in Johannesburg. I think it is this coming week
Right.
at Love Books, and apparently they've got not there isn't a seat in the house, and it looks inside.
Mm.
It is just off the wall, and it's lovely.
And
Um,
what sort of food, Jenny?
It is, it's Indian food, but it's Malay food. It's
Okay.
Indian Malay food, and it's Cape Town food. And she says, I mean, Fems
Mm.
says this book is like me, nostalgic and chaotic, with personality smashed between the pages. Choose from family recipes, quick meals, sweet treats, savories for fasting, junk food, and even blender recipes. And so it is, every page is a color smash. I mean,
Okay. There
you
is a
know,
Yeah, there is an art to good food photography. The other one who gets it, this looks beautiful. The other one that gets it so right is Sophia Lindop, whose food photographs, just make me want to eat the pages.
well, these photographs are fun, and then they've added stuff. So Mediterranean street food fries, which I suspect lots of people are going to like and could possibly even have on the beach. It, and they've chucked little illustrations in as
Ah,
well. And
wonderful.
it's not on my list of I'm going to cook this immediately.
Yeah.
Um, there's a Donna Hay that is coming out, and I'm just going to end off with this one because it's going to make everybody,
Oh,
you know.
but they don't make. Have you bought Zoo biscuits lately, Jen? They don't look anything like they used to when you and I were growing up. There's like
Well,
a
they're a little
white
bit, they're,
splotch, and you've got
no,
to try
they're a
and
little
figure
bit,
out what it is.
yes. I think maybe because they are smaller,
Yeah.
and I've got a feeling that Kevin Collins has eaten all the old ones, um, because he's done a series of his wonderful whale plates,
Yep.
and some of them have got
Zoo biscuits.
zoo biscuits on there. So he must have munched them. He must have munched them all. But anyway, this is so new,
Yeah.
foolproof recipes that bring joy to everyday cooking, and it's called Damn
Yeah.
Good Food,
All
and it's
right.
by Fem, and she just looks like a load of fun. And And there are also some words that I didn't understand.
Mm.
There are some descriptions that I didn't understand. She's done a lot of the photography, and I think her inspiration came from De Hoop
Mm.
and different places in Cape Town. And there's wonderful coloured houses and
Yeah.
things where I think there still is really good food to be had if you know the right places. And
Yep.
apparently she just goes and knocks on people's doors if she can hear a good smell. I think she sounds like a wonderful character. So I
She's
wanted to share it with you.
all right.
And then, David, I want to try and excite you with this book. And it's by a girl called Adriana Murray, and she is a physicist. And
Yeah.
what she wants to do more than life itself is she wants to go to Mars. And I interviewed her about a month ago
Mm.
because this is what my book looked like. Because I'm not a scientist, and I didn't do science at school. I went to a convent school, and they did art. They liked religious art, and I failed. I just didn't do any well. So, but
So it was a
this
journey for
book
both
is
of you, basically.
sorry.
A journey for both of you. She wants to
Yes,
go
no,
there, and you just want to
absolutely.
understand.
But Eugene, it starts off with um, Eugene Marais
Mm.
and a species far wandering and equipped for distant migrations through inborn wanderlust or otherwise would always have a better chance than one can find. And so she feels confined on Earth. And
Mm.
since she was a little girl of 8, she has been wanting to go up,
Go to
up
Mars.
and away.
Yeah.
And she is incredibly well qualified.
Mm.
And so the book really starts off, and the first half of the book is a bit more serious than other halves, and it's the one that's got all the stickers in. But she goes into the history of the universe. In the beginning, the Big Bang. And I mean, there is so much information because you've got to look back at the history of the universe, and we is the best supported theory of how the universe began. But she says that I think we can agree that some significant unresolved issues in our understanding of the cosmos remain. And she goes through, and I just started thinking, oh, well, I thought that we were 14 billion years old or something
Mm.
like that. And she almost destroys that because she says there is more information coming. And I read a little piece somewhere the other day that human DNA has been found in a meteorite. Well, where the hell did that meteorite come from? And but so by the end of this book, you know that we are made of stardust. And I can't think of a more wonderful way to go into a Christmas reading
Mm.
frenzy by thinking, you know, we're all made of stardust. We're not made of anything else. And
Stunning.
it's just joyous. So, so the
Is
first
she
part
qualified? I
is
mean, is she a scientist or is she just
no,
somebody who wants to do?
she's a physicist,
Oh, okay.
and she is massively qualified. Um, uh, uh, There are wonderful, well, she's a doctor, Dr.
Mm.
Adriana Murray. She's dedicated her life to preparing for extraplanetary settlement, considering not just the scientific and technical possibilities, but also our ethical responses as we explore new frontiers.
Oh,
And
okay.
in 2019, she launched the Off-World Project, which is a series of, for me, massively uncomfortable dwellings that you could live in if you were going to get to Mars. And I
Okay.
just thought, oh my God. And I said to her during the interview, I said, but I mean, why? I mean, I can understand why you'd want to go to Mars,
Mm.
but for a long weekend maybe, and then you come back home, and there's
It doesn't
greenery,
work
and
like that.
there's perfume, and there are flowers and trees and green.
Mm.
And she said, I don't care. She said, I just want to be on Mars. And so she lived the last year in China, for instance.
Mm.
And she said the Chinese have got to be ahead of just about everybody in the world when it comes to getting to Mars and living
Right.
on Mars
Wow.
and putting houses together and making it comfortable. I mean, there's a long way to go with this, obviously. And I said to her, because she's in her middle to late 30s, and I said to her, what are you going to do if you run out of time?
Hmm.
Because, nobody wants anybody who's old because then you become
Yes,
dependent on other people.
correct.
So you've got to have young people and presumably, people who can breed and everything. But just the strength that you have when you're younger, you're going to need
Yeah.
everything. But she said the Chinese are just wonderful. But she's done a series of habitation projects, um, and she is also the chief scientist for Africa's first lunar mission, and it's called Africa to Moon, and which is in the running to be launched to the lunar South Pole in 2008. So we here in
Mhm.
South Africa, and she is, when I laughed at her, she said, "Don't laugh, don't laugh." She said, "I've been in China for a year," and she said, "We're sharing information, and it is fantastic." So, are we alone? She goes into "Are we alone?"
Mm.
and the building blocks of life in space, life on Mars. She says it's not impossible, but they're not going to come out with slitty eyes. It's going to be a minuscule worm or something, which is why you've just got to be so careful
They
about
walk
what you
among,
send back to Earth.
Jenny, they walk amongst us already. We just don't know who some of them are.
Well, well, yes, and you can go and listen to them talking. And
I was going to
I
say, I think
suspect.
you and I have worked for some of those, but let's not go that way
So
either.
she does it. She does something called Off-World, a
Yeah,
day in the life on Mars. And so you've got to follow exactly what the day is, and you do have little vehicles to take
right.
you around. And the sun does come up and there's no oxygen. So you are vulnerable. But whatever it is wonderful. And she says this is becoming more and more important, seriously,
Mm.
because we've stuffed up Earth.
We
And
have
unless
indeed.
we do something serious about Earth, and I'm unmoved by the G20 coming to
Yeah.
South Africa, but I hope they have a lovely time. And I'm unmoved by what we have and are doing in little bits and pieces of Joburg to clean up the filth and the rot and the broken
Yeah.
pavements and things like that. All of us in this world, we haven't played the game, and we're going to be sorry. And
Yep.
that's one of the messages that comes through
Out
in
of
this
this
book of
world and
hers.
into the next. Into the next.
And she's lovely. She's absolutely lovely. And she has got the gift of explaining. We did a Q&A as well.
Mm.
And the audience was lovely. And there were some, I think, 25-year-old science students, and they were asking lovely questions. And there was a little girl, and if she was 8, she would be, I don't know how old she was,
Mm.
but she put her hand up, and so, of course, we took her, and she got out of her chair and she came all the way up to us and she said, but she said, do I have to doubt the dinosaurs, the extinction of the dinosaurs?
Oh,
Could there
wow.
still be dinosaurs around? And so Adriana said, yes, there are. And so the little girl said, well, where? And she said, have you ever seen a chicken? Have you ever seen Tyrannosaurus Rex? And
Yeah.
this little girl said, yes, I know Tyrannosaurus Rex will eat me. And she said, well, it's unlikely, but it is true. The DNA from a dinosaur, from Tyrannosaurus
Mm.
Rex, can be
Lives
found
in a
in
chicken.
chickens. And we now know that a lot of those dinosaurs had feathers,
Feathers,
and
yeah.
most of them are being found in China, actually. Um,
Elon
so I think
Musk,
there's just
watch out.
anyway, I loved it. So this one, now I've got to confess, I have veered on the side of books that I'm reading at the moment. Um, this one I have not quite finished, but I do know a lot about it, and I will be interviewing him very shortly. And this is a thriller. You can't take books away for Christmas, I don't think, without reading a fantastic thriller.
It's got to
And
be
some of them
something that has
are,
a body on page one. And
yeah, well, yes, I'm not so. I'm not so keen on the American
Mm,
crime because it's
yeah,
just guns and visceration and things like that. So I like the British writers.
right,
So I want to mention two, and one of them, of course, and I have interviewed him, is Mick Herron.
right.
And Mick Herron has got now a whole range of books. He's got a whole, I think he's now into the third series. The first book of his that I read was Slow Horses. And
Oh,
Slow Horses, well, that is
yeah,
Mick Herron.
yeah.
And he's not terribly well known in South Africa
Mm,
yet, but he honestly he's like a fine wine with chocolate sort of thing. Because he is, I cannot tell you how wonderful he is. And also, it's so humorous. It is so humorous. And so I think Clown Town is the new Slough House thriller. And the one that he finished with book four was Bad Actors. And that, if you want to start reading the
mm.
background to Mick Herron and his Slow Horses series, that is the one to read. But this is his latest one. And
Okay.
so it is on the shelves. He's not giving interviews because he's so busy with another series that is filming and going on to, I think it's Apple. Anyway, I resent it because Sir Gary Oldfield, he's now Sir,
Oldman.
takes the part of Jackson Lamb,
Yeah, I know.
who,
I binged that TV series. Oldman is
well,
brilliant.
is it wonderful? Because I haven't
It,
seen it.
Jenny, do yourself a favor. Book off time and just watch this. Watch it for Gary Oldman, for nothing else. And then try and find the Stephen Colbert interview that he does with Gary.
I've seen it.
It's
It's the one
beyond
with
special.
farts. I'm sorry. Sorry for your audience, but
Yeah, the farting.
this is
Yeah.
this is Jackson Lamb, and he did that interview, and he was told you're not going to talk about farts because Jackson Lamb, who is the spy master,
Yeah.
he dribbles food down himself, and when he gets excited, he might fart or whatever.
Was
But
it
I want talking about books. I once stood at a New Year's Eve dinner, and it was a buffet dinner in KwaZulu-Natal. And in the queue in front of me, there was Alan Payton. So it was a long time ago. I hardly knew him. And my uncle, who was editor of the Daily News in Durban, he said to me, whatever you do, do not stand behind Alan Payton. And I said, why ever not? He said, well, you'll just be sorry. And I thought, God, my uncle is just so difficult. And so I was right behind Alan Payton, and I didn't know whether to tap him on the shoulder. He's quite fierce, was quite fierce. And then he leant forward and he helped himself to some turkey or something. And I'm
farted?
sorry he let go. And I was right behind him. And I wanted to sort of, wave my clothes and because the clothes, anyway, he was well known for it. Anyway, Jackson Lamb is in this. And the latest one, this is absolutely
Vicarian
wonderful.
Clown Town.
And all the
Great.
characters
Okay.
that we've come to know and
Yeah.
love are in here. And it is difficult to follow. You've got to
Mhm.
keep your wits around you, as you know. And you honestly and truly, there are clues everywhere, but you don't know who's friend, and you certainly don't know who's foe. And they're all trying to kill each other until one of them might be knocked off, in which case Jackson
Ah.
Lamb is like, well, he's like a Tyrannosaurus Rex going
He
after
will
them.
he will eat your chicken dinner in a
He
heartbeat.
will do whatever it is, he will do it. And then, as a total contrast, and I do love thrillers. I do love
Mhm.
crime fiction. Peter James, who's no stranger to South Africa,
Yeah.
and he's a wonderful English writer. So let me tell you what's happened to the writers of crime fiction, as well as anything else in England. They now have Queen Camilla. Camilla has done more for books in Britain in the last, let's say, 10 years
Mhm.
than anybody else has been able to do, apart from Hay on Wye and things like that. And Camilla loves crime fiction.
Ah.
So a lot of these crime writers are actually her mates. and they come along and they drink and they talk about, well, why, but why did the dagger go in under that rib? And she entertains them. And Peter James is one of her favorites. And the king likes him a lot as
Ah,
well. And so that is a little bit of a background to this book because I'm insisting that you read it. And also, it is not as intellectual as my dear Mick Herron,
mm,
which is, you get cross when people interview with Mick Herron, not with Peter James, because it's so accessible. You can pick up where
yeah.
you left off if someone offers you a glass of bubbly or something. So this is his book, and I'm going to tell you about the background before I
Okay.
tell you about the book. Have you read
Right.
it, David?
No, I haven't.
Well, run and
Okay.
get it. Because what he has done is the Queen is one of the stars. She might even be a possible victim in The Hawk is Dead.
Ah,
And half of the book, in fact, the whole part of the book, let me just show you. So there are maps showing you where a tunnel is and where a mortuary is. And then there's Buckingham Palace overview. There's a map there.
right.
Here are all of the places in Buckingham Palace where there are scenes from this book where
Ah,
you need
okay.
to know.
Yeah.
Um, and also in some of them, there are scenes sort of downstairs that you don't
Mm.
know about, but he does. And of course, they must have read it very carefully before saying, okay, well, because the Kinga is there.
Oh,
And
okay.
um, it's a Roy Grace thriller. And so every now and then he's called into the palace because the king thinks that Camilla has had a threat to her life. And what he finds is a web of deceit, and behind the gold curtains, there's this and there's that. And honestly and truly, I was a little bit late for logging on for you today
Mm.
because I thought I'm going to read another chapter. And the chapters are short. And we know that it's building up, and there are codes, and so Roy Grace is called in because Camilla is traveling in the train and she's
Right.
going through a tunnel. And when she comes out of the tunnel, she'll be very close to Brighton, and she's going to visit a series of hospices for the day, and she's going to stay overnight. The driver of the train, I'm not spoiling anything for you, sees an obstacle ahead and he can't stop in time. And that's the whole point of this
What?
thing. So he sees this obstacle, but he doesn't know what it is. He slams on the brakes. So he manages to get the train down from 70
Mm.
miles per hour to 40. And so the carriage turns. Camilla is in it, doesn't do anything for her makeup. She's not hurt. And she's got all palace officials around, and everyone is around her saying, the Queen, are you all right? Are you all right? And she just snaps at them and says, I'm fine. I'm a little bit shocked, but let's get out of here because
Um,
the driver says there's an oncoming train. We've got to get you out.
yeah. She was
And
shaken but not stirred.
she was staking, no,
It was
staking.
she was shaken but not stirred.
So, so they're all rushing out
Mm.
and they get outside. And this is in the first few pages of the book. So again, I'm not spoiling a thing. And they start, the household and her guardians, the police, are saying, ma'am, you've just got to climb up this part and we're going to get there where the rocks are. And where we can sit. So they know that something is amiss, but they don't know how badly. So she's talking to one of the senior members of the royal household, and he's talking back to her, and suddenly she sees, well, anyway,
Something.
I'm going to leave that for you, but
Leave
he's
it.
shot dead in front of her,
As
and
as soon
everybody
as you
thinks
finished,
Camilla,
yeah.
pardon?
As soon as you finish the book, text me and I'm coming to fetch it. I want to
Oh
borrow
no, I'm
your
not
copy.
lending it. You're crazy. I'm not lending it. It's a Pound Macmillan book. Go
Oh,
go
okay.
fetch.
Yeah.
Get
I'll
them to
go and
send you a
fetch.
cover. It is just too wonderful. The king is lovely in this book. So the two of
Peter
them must have
James,
had.
The hawk
you
is
know.
dead.
So
Yes.
Peter James, Camilla, and Charles, I think they've had huge funds because there is a killer in the palace.
And we're going to have to leave it at that because we're just about out of
No,
time. Yes. And I
no.
mean that's such a high. If you can do a book in 2 minutes, then we can do one more.
Okay, this is one of my non-fiction reads of the year. And the girl who wrote the book, Rachel
Yeah.
Clark, she is a doctor based in Oxford. And this is the story of a heart. And it's the story of a heart transplant. And
Ah,
it's a story of two families and the whole system that goes into play when a heart becomes available or when a heart is lost.
okay.
And it will have you weeping, it'll have you laughing. It is the most wonderful book, and it also won the Women's Prize, the second Women's Prize for nonfiction this year. It is absolutely glorious. It's wonderful.
Great stuff. The story of the heart, Rachel Clark, ends off this edition of Off the Shelf. She is Jenny Crwys-Williams. I'm David Batzofin. Until the next time, Jenny, thank you so very much for joining me. It's always wonderful to have time to chat to you. And until the next time, goodbye. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.